Hello, I'm happy to be here again. Well, I think the term is self explanatory because an influencer is someone that can influence a part of the community, and it can depend. They can have influence on purchasing decisions or maybe with ideas, values. I mean, it's very broad. But there are many different types of influencers depending on the content that you do and what you share with your community and with the people that watch you. I don't think you need very high numbers in order to be defined as an influencer because we can define them also by numbers. There can be nano influencers, macro, micro, or mega influencers. So even if you have a small community, you still have that power, let's say, and that influence over uh, a specific community. And I think I'm not sure what uh, I can say more about this because, as I said, it's very broad and it depends a lot on the content that you do.
Yeah. For me, for example, for me, being an influencer is someone that can change someone else's mind, like is to influence by definition. So I think, yeah, sometimes some people have a lot of followers, a lot of high fan base, but they are not able to change people's opinion. And at the same time, that you have like maybe small influencers or micro influencers that, yeah, um, there is not really too much people following you, but they really trust you. I always remember the example when let's say if you are, for instance, talking about microphones and maybe you're very good at discussing microphones, but very few people watch you, but they really trust what you say about microphones. Then it can be good because any time you promote a microphone, people will trust you and then they will buy it, even if maybe they don't say hi to you in the street or something like that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel also like if you're a very big streamer or maybe you do some other type of content that doesn't really drive people to action, um, that's for me that does not really feel the definition of influencing. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can have many viewers, followers, subscribers, but you might have a smaller influence on people compared to someone that has smaller numbers, but that really has like a tighter community. And yes, I think it's easier when you have not so big numbers to make the community feel like you're more honest. And I think it also depends on how you talk with them because I think that, I mean, from my experience of watching other influencers or content creators, if you share maybe more personal information from your life, the people tend to trust you more and to follow your advice more or what you promote in general. So I think this also is an important factor. How do you communicate with your people, with your community? What do you think?
Yeah, I think people like influencers or influencer marketing is effective because, like you say, a lot of the fan base see the influencers more like friends or like someone they can trust. So yeah, I think creating that connection is important, and I think for influencer marketing is what makes the difference between like placing ads or putting some videos. Then maybe yes, you get more people to watch them, but it's not really the engaging. Like the CTR usually is lower than when with influencers. You get less impressions, but you get more clicks and more people convert. Because that's very hard to replace, especially in digital world in the internet. Like to have someone that you really trust, you really follow, that you feel engaged, especially like you say, I don't know if he or she is sharing about trips that it's making, or what is eating, or how is he or she feeling in this particular day. She had or he has some good or bad news. I think that's very engaging. But I also think that some influencers, they can influence in some things, but in some others. So I think that that's also important. For example, um, let's say if you're a professional gamer and you are promoting a mouse, even if you don't have a very big fan base, maybe it's good that they choose you, the brand chooses you, because you are known for like playing good. So having a good mouse can be a good incentive for people that wants to be better. But maybe if you are like I don't know, chit chatting, and maybe you have higher viewership and you promote that mouse, yes, you can be engaging or you can influence people to do other things, but I'm not sure if the mouse is the best target for you. So some products may be a better fit for some kinds of influencers, depending on the industry and the content that they are making. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true because I think when you accept an offer, as we said in previous podcast, it should suit your type of content that you usually do. Because if you are choosing the right campaigns, then they will be more successful, and if they are successful, then more companies or brands or agencies will contact you for future campaigns. But also, it's the job of the agency as well, or of the brand, to choose suitable content creators. Because yes, it's very true. I mean, if I watch a person that usually does gaming and then one day promotes a, I don't know, cream for face, for skincare or anything, it doesn't really suit their content in general, and I won't really trust their opinion that much. And it works the other way around as well.
Yeah, and for example, to keep that in mind, what you just mentioned, like when talking about the brand side, like if I'm a brand and I'm looking for an influencer, like what do I need to look on? What do you think is I should be paying attention on? Which size you think is important? Um, like you, for example, this is literally your job. So how do you pick a good influencer for a good campaign?
Well, I think that in general we had more success with smaller influencers because I feel like they take the campaign more seriously. If it's not, I mean, if it's not really highly paid, because it depends on the campaign. Some are well paid, some are, they don't have such a big budget. So this is also a factor, because if you contact a very big influencer and the campaign doesn't have a very big budget, that content creator usually has many offers. In general, they can choose from them what suits them better, and if they don't think it's that worth it and they're just doing it for whatever, let's just gain another 200 bucks, they're not going to pay that much interest, they're not going to be that engaged and try to incorporate challenges to make it fun for the audience, to motivate them. So that's why this is also an important factor to consider, your budget and how it can motivate the content creator. Because I mean, it's true for all of us, we want to be paid for the job and we want to feel like it's worth it for us as well. Because yeah, they might accept it, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily very good for the campaign or for them. I hope it makes sense. And what we mentioned earlier, they have to, uh, their content have to suit the campaign. It has to be in the same domain, preferably. It's not, I mean, I don't think it's mandatory, but it can definitely help. And to see overall if that influencer had another, other successful campaigns, if they communicate well, if they seem interested and open. I think the first impression is also important when you contact an influencer, how he responds, if you can talk with them, if they seem open to suggestions, and so on. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like you say, influencers are like artists in a way. Like the music
Yeah.
is not the same. For example, if you get some ads in Facebook and maybe the agency or whoever is making is not feeling in very well or it's not in the right mood, it doesn't really matter because the ads are going to be the same. So you're going to have the same results. But when an influencer is not feeling it, you really see it. I think people really
Yeah.
see it. I think the campaign gets hurt. So yeah, it's very important. Like you say, I think what happens sometimes is that for small influencers maybe they don't have too many offers or maybe they feel a little bit more appreciation because it's some of them is the first time they do a campaign, second time, so it's a little bit of more eagerness like when you get your first job, I guess, something like that. And then yeah, bigger influencers maybe they see it a little bit more like a routine or something. They have a lot of offers they can pick from. I think some big influencers are also very professional, but yeah, I think the emotional part is very important for the campaigns to succeed. So with that in mind, I think it's also very important that the influencer enjoys or likes the product or service that is promoting, because if they don't like it, you can really tell. Um, so when it comes to that product or service, do you recommend like teaching the influencer how to use the whatever they are promoting? You think it's important like to have some preparation before, or what would you tell the influencer like before starting with the campaign? What you think is important to take notes on?
Yeah, definitely. I think many content creators might not do the research by themselves before the campaign on the product or on the game or whatever they are promoting. So as an agency or brand, it's important to offer a short guideline, a tutorial or anything. This can really help because they can know how it works, and it feels more honest. It's easier for them and for their community as well. It's just better overall. And it's also important to um, specify all the details, because I had campaigns where many details were not clear from the beginning, like deadline if there is one, um, how much it will last the campaign, how the payment is going to be made, what is the deadline for the payment, how long it will last to receive it, uh, how can we make the transfer. I feel like those are all very important details. And also panels and other things that you should include on the overlay of the stream, because maybe some influencers are not comfortable with a very big panel or widget on their overlay. I mean, you can't know. So you should make sure that they know everything that they should be doing and what they should include.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
for
know if.
example, when you have like different brands or different clients looking to promote through influencer marketing, how do you or when do you recommend like big influencers? When do you recommend small influencer, medium influencers? Do you think it's a better scenario for some of them in some cases, or some other cases is best to choose from different size?
I mean, it depends on the budget, because, as I said, if there is a smaller budget, smaller influencers will be more motivated overall, and I feel like the campaign will be more successful. But you can also test it. I think this is very important. Just test the campaign and test it with different type of content creators, with ones that have higher numbers, with ones that are smaller, different types of content, and see what works best, because then it will be more clear and easier for you to choose. It depends a lot on the campaign, and I think it's better to just test it.
Yeah, I think it's important that you mention the things from the test. For example, when you do it, like it's called A/B test in advertising, is again like you can have this same profile of influencer, like I don't know, this game, this age, this gender, and then influencer B, same criteria, but the results are very different because yeah, there is a big emotional part, a big investment part, and like motivation is very important. Like affinity with the product is very important. So those are things like when it comes to data, historic data that you have from past campaigns, very hard to track. Also, at the same time, maybe you can have one influencer that does a very good campaign for this brand, and then for the other brand is not that good because, like you mentioned, maybe the industry was not a fit, or maybe the product was not a fit. So I think testing is very important. Um, last question, like when it comes also like to the services that they promote, do you think like they should have a more of a I'm not sure if it's the right word, but like customer support role. Like, do you think it's important like to onboard them when it comes to like product improvements or like taking care of the users' feedback? Like, do you usually get comments on that, or you think it's better just to focus them on promoting the product and maybe leave that part to other part of the company?
Mm, well, do you mean like if the agency should provide this customer support to the influencer?
I mean, like when you get usually influencers get a lot of feedback from the community. So, for example, I don't know, I get this influencer to promote this game, and then the influencer says, a lot of my community says the game is too heavy, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Yeah.
you pass that information to the company saying, many people say the game is too heavy. Maybe you can do something about that. Like, you think
Oh,
that
okay.
feedback is relevant, or you think it's something that should be included in influencer marketing campaigns, or is something that you should leave like for other things? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely important, but I don't know if you should make it mandatory because I feel like if the feedback is relevant and important, and if many people say the same thing to that content creator about the game or the product, they will probably tell you and they will share that feedback. But if there are not too many opinions on it, maybe I mean, sometimes I think they don't have anything to share. What do you think?
Yeah, I think also depends on the. I think it depends on the knowledge the influencer has on the product. Like, for example, in my experience, like, I don't know, if you want to promote, let's say, gambling website or a game, like some influencers, I think is the right thing to do, they try it first. So they download it and they play it and they see like how it works, and then they say yes, I can promote this or I cannot. Like some other influencers, they say, it doesn't really matter what game it is or what platform you're telling me to do, I will just do it anyway because you're paying me. But they don't really take the time to maybe feel if they like it or feel if they have any questions or concerns about the platform. um, so I think it also makes the difference when it comes to when the fan base has some questions maybe, or they want to know a little bit deeper about the product. Because if they, I don't know, if I'm playing this game and I want to know how to unlock, I don't know, this character, I will probably write the influencer or in the community of the influencer, how do I unlock this character? And then if the influencer doesn't know, then maybe you won't get that feedback. But if he knows, then he will be able to answer the question, or maybe like pass the information through to the company, or like give some resources. I don't know if that's maybe too off from the marketing campaign itself, because it's not really promotion, it's like more of a bonus. So you think that that's really relevant or not so much, or you think there should be other focus on the campaigns? Like, how would you prioritize the task of the influencers on like each time that they are promoting something?
No, I think it's important, and I think it can help if that agency or company wants to improve the campaigns or the product themselves, because they need that feedback, and it's easier to gain it through campaigns with content creators and from their community. Um, but I don't know. I feel like yes, it can help if you offer them a guideline, a short tutorial, so they can know how to use that product. But I feel like it might not be enough in order to answer some very specific questions that you can know only if you were playing it for a long time, and so on. And yeah, I feel like mm, it can be bad if they ask you something and you don't know and you are promoting that. I think it might feel a bit less honest, and it might look a bit bad. But at the same time, it's not really the content creator's fault because they can't know anything. They are maybe just promoting that for a week or two, or just two streams, and that's very short. mm, it might be maybe too big of a job in some cases. I mean, if it happens and if you can gain that feedback, that's nice and that's really helpful. But if not, I feel like it shouldn't matter.
Awesome.
I,
Good.
yeah.
So yeah. I think I totally agree. Also, I think it's very clear because like usually when you do a contract with the influencer, it's not something that you put. It's something that you are grateful for. Like you say thank you, but it's not really their obligation. Also, I think it's important to get some boundaries on what you can do and what you cannot do. I think that's helps like making the campaign clear for everybody. So Juan is asking in the chat, like, what topics should I omit so that my fan base doesn't get angry? Like, what do you think about that?
Um. Wait, I'm not. Can you repeat it? Because I'm not sorry if I understood it.
Like, for example, what topics like should I avoid so my fan base doesn't get angry? For example, you think is relevant
Oh,
to avoid like politics or religion, or you think it's something that influencers should talk about, or is there any other topic you think they should not say or avoid?
yeah. I think in general, I mean, content creators should avoid anything that is against terms of conditions, and because there are things that you can get banned for in many platforms, like on Twitch or on YouTube, you should definitely avoid that. But if it's not something that's against those, yeah, I think it might be a gray area. It depends on what connection you want with your community, because as I said, if you share more personal information and opinions, they will trust you more, they will feel more closer to you and your community. But there is the risk that if a part of your community doesn't agree, maybe you will lose them as viewers and supporters. So there is this risk. But to be more specific, yeah, politics, religion, usually those things might be a bit risky. But if you want to accept that risk, mm, I mean, you can win on some part and you can lose on another part. I think it really depends on how you want your content to be and your relationship with your community.
Yeah, I think it's a great question actually. Because yeah, what you're saying is right. Like on one side, if you are more general or you avoid certain topics, then maybe you can get more fan base or less people will get angry at you. But on the other hand, if you are like more specific about your beliefs or you are more open, um, it can backfire because you will probably lose some followers. But on the other hand, I feel also you will also not maybe gain more followers, but the followers that they agree with you, they will be more closer to you. um so I think this is my personal opinion. I'm not sure if there is a right choice. I think it's a preference, but I like having being open about what you think. I think these days you have a lot of influencers going around, so it's I think it's a better strategy. Like aside from what I personally think, I think like from a business perspective, it's important to pick your niche. Like okay, that I cannot be like the influencer for everything, like we just mentioned. Like I cannot be the best fit for every product or for every industry, so I will just go hard on one. And when that specific industry or that specific target is requested by the brand, I will be the best choice. I think, in my opinion, works best. So I think that's why these days you see a lot of very big influencers that they are very edgy or like not many people agree with, but they are very big and you don't understand why. I think it's because of that, because the people that they maybe it doesn't relate to you, but the people that really relate to them, they are sharing everything, like commenting everything. If you're a little bit of like more soft, maybe you are big, but then you are not. When it comes to the topic of this podcast, you are not influencing that much. I think the more the
Yeah.
more the stronger your side, the more ability you have to influence. Um, so that can be a good tool for the brands. I don't know, that's my perspective. I don't know if you agree or not. You can. Well, what do you think? You can be open about it.
Yeah. I mean, now that we talked about it a bit more specific, I think that I agree with you, because if I think about myself, I usually watch and appreciate more people that really share an opinion, even if I don't agree with them. I think this is, as you said, a very important tool. Usually, when it comes to content, if the viewer feels something, even if it's anger, even if they agree and they're happy, I mean, it would be more engaging for the people overall. And as you said, the bigger content creators are also usually a bit controversial. And I think, yes, they gain more attention and views because of that as well. Because, I mean, you will know that, oh, that person really annoys me. He said something so bad at some point, and then maybe on your feed, there will be a video from them, and you will want to watch it just to see if he says something bad again that you don't really agree to. So, yeah, I think it might actually be more beneficial. um but like, you might be ready also for maybe hate comments and so on if you do this. But I think, like, if you're a content creator, you should feel ready for this anyway, because people will hate even if you're the most nice content creator ever. There will be people that will not agree with something you say at some point, or they will be trolls and they will say some bad stuff. So yeah, I think this is very true, and this is better overall, like, just to be honest and to share your opinions even if they might upset some people.
Yeah, and what do you? I think there is a thin line also when it comes to those type of creators that are very polarizing, because I think influencing is a tool. Like being an influencer is a power, and sometimes the influence can be bad, or like marketing strategy aside, maybe you are influencing people to do things that they shouldn't really be doing, or that is they are not right. Of course, this is subjective. Um, so how do you mark the line of what's like edgy or what's like controversial to what is like not right or you shouldn't do or it's not correct to do? I know these days like people do everything, but yeah, from your personal opinion, like where would you draw the line?
I mean, if it influences people to hurt themselves for other people, I mean, this is where I would draw that line. That is not okay. But if you only just share your opinion on some specific movie or music or even politics, it shouldn't be such a taboo topic, in my opinion. Um, Laws, even religion. I mean, that's your opinion and it's fine. But if you make, I don't know, racist comments, or if you encourage people to consume substances, or that is not okay. And I would also not really collaborate with a content creator like that for any campaign. But I mean, again, that's just a personal preference. There might be campaigns that don't really care, or managers that would choose even those content creators. But I feel like it's not really okay. So yeah.
Yeah, like you say, also like being more controversial can be a shortcut to grow faster, but on the other hand, it might close the door for some brands like forever, pretty much. So especially the traditional ones, that if you have like some history of bad behavior, then it will be difficult to get back with them. Of course, like you say, there will be also always brands that they are willing to work with you nonetheless, uh, and usually small brands or brands that they don't have any choices. Um, but yeah, I think digital advertising these days is the propaganda, new propaganda. So it's a little bit risky when it comes to be like very controversial, because also as a manager sometimes you sponsor one influencer and then you didn't realize, and then I don't know, 1 year ago or a few months ago he made something that's really like put your brand in a bad position. So it's important to do a background check, to avoid those situations. Yeah, we are getting to the end of the program. I don't know if there is anything else you would like to say, any other comments or opinions that you may have.
um No, not really. I just think that, yes, the background check is very important, because it will make you look bad as a company or as a brand if you collaborated with someone very controversial. Because if you if you did something bad at some point, it will never be really deleted. People will remember it, and yeah, even if you change your content at some point, you should be careful because it's going to be there forever in people's minds or even uploaded on the internet. So yeah, it's important to be mindful.
Yeah, especially for influencers where pretty much all of their life is public. Like you say, like you share more, but also you risk more. So it's a game that it's difficult to balance sometimes. So yeah, there is always
Yeah.
trade-offs in this life, I think.
Yeah, and there are many tools. Even if you think that content is not accessible anymore, well, it might be, or there might be people that save it or record you, because you never know who is watching you and what is he doing with the content you put out there. It's always a risk.
Yeah, it's going to be on the internet forever, pretty much. Someone
Yeah.
somewhere will download it and keep in the computer for their entire
Yes.
life.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra, for your time. Yeah, it was a pleasure, and see you next week.
Yes. Thank you as well.